When we look at the best anime villains, at least for shonen, I think the ones that come to mind are Aizen from Bleach. He's my personal favorite. There's also Miriam from Hunter x Hunter. There's Madara from Naruto, Frieza from Dragon Ball. And I haven't read Berserk, but I heard that Griffith, he's or she, I'm pretty sure it's a he, is one of the best ones out there. And in One Piece, they have Doflamingo. I consider Dofi the only S tier villain in One Piece. I know a lot of people love Katakuri, but I don't really see him as a villain. I see him as an antagonist. I think Rob Lucci, I think Crocodile, they're good, but they're not like the pinnacle of villains. I think that Doflamingo, he's probably a top 10 villain in shonen. He's a fallen god known as, well, the heavenly demon. He's not a tragic hero, which I think in this day and age in anime, a lot of like villains are broken characters who, had a bad childhood, or like something happened to where they snapped. Where Doflamingo was somebody who was just pure evil. He does whatever the fluff he wanted, right? He was a celestial dragon, and then they went down, they got bullied, they were oppressed, and Doflamingo wasn't having it. He was upset with the fact that he had all this power and it was taken away. So he blamed his father and he killed him because his father took that power away from him, and he ended up taking over the country to be the ruler that he thought he rightfully was. Doflamingo was pure evil, right? He killed his father, killed his brother, all of that. So that's why I think he's an S tier villain. And Kaido is the man that he worked under, right? He had that crazy introduction of him jumping off of the Sky Island, and then they talked about how he escaped death this many times, he was captured this many times, he lost fights, and that he mourned for death. And even him jumping from thousands of feet in the air, he still couldn't die, right? I think that's a great introduction. And Kaido, he's been hyped up since Punk Hazard, right? Almost 10 years ago. It might actually be 10 years ago. Kaido, we've been in this fight, and Kaido has been the end all be all. So today we're going to talk about, is Kaido the disappointing villain that we think he is, or did he live up to expectation? We'll discuss that. But if you guys enjoy videos like these, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new one. And with that out of the way, my name is Potential Unleashed, and let's see if Kaido was a disappointing villain. In terms of strength, I think Kaido for sure lived up to the hype. I think currently he's probably the strongest character in this series, and if you take characters that in their prime and those that are dead, Kaido's probably a top 5, top 7 strongest in the entire series. Comparing like feats like Whitebeard, how he tilted Marineford, Kaido, he ended up lifting Onigashima with his flame clouds while he was fighting. He was able to fight equally against Big Mom for 3 days. He also clashed with Shanks. We know that they tried, when Kaido and King tried to go to Marineford, Shanks intercepted him, and hence why Shanks was late to Marineford. He also tanked the Scabbard Sinachi when they were using Ryo. He tanked some of their attacks on the rooftops and was able to decimate them when he got serious. And the Supernovas, there are different attacks like Gamma Knife, Ashura, the Kong Gun, Punk something that kid did, Killer's attacks, right? There are multiple attacks that the Supernovas did on the rooftop that Kaido, he took the damage and he kept fighting. And then even with Luffy using Conquerors, even with him using Gear 5th, even with Yamato like going, Kaido was still eating those attacks. He was tanking those attacks, kept getting back up. He fought like 15 people this arc. I think that's impressive because none of them were fodder, right? Like maybe the Scabbards, but like the Supernova weren't fodder. Yamato wasn't fodder. Luffy Gear 5th with Conquerors with Ryo definitely wasn't fodder. So Kaido, he's fought so many people during this arc. And in terms of like, I think that, I don't know, man, Kaido, even though he did all this, there's still some people who don't believe like in his strength, and I don't know why. He knocked Luffy out 4 times this arc, and I believe 3 times on Onigashima alone, and he got jumped all arc. Like, what do you want from him? He's not this god. He's Kaido. He's a human. I think we can all agree that his strength is something that has been proven, but let's talk about his backstory. I personally think Kaido's backstory was a little bit weak, and I want to say this was an asterisk because we don't know if that's all we're getting, because you typically with One Piece backstory, if you're an antagonist or an important character, you get multiple chapters. Like, for instance, even with Zoro, he got that 1 chapter, and then he got some stuff a little bit later with the Kuzaburo stuff, I believe in 1033 or 34, one of the two. And so that just means that, like, Oda, he'll implant backstories a little bit later to go more in depth with the character. But Kaido, he didn't even get a full chapter. He got more. I don't even think he got half a chapter. It was probably like 6 or 7 pages of that. So I would say that's a little bit disappointing. But in terms of his backstory, he was a really strong child, and really strong in general. He was on the planet Vaca, where they couldn't handle him anymore, so they decided to ship him out to the military. And Kaido was not having that. He ended up escaping. He was captured. They had attempted executions, etc. And he was so strong that the Rocks Pirates, they even seeked him out. And then we know what happened with the Rocks Pirates, God Valley incident. They had infighting, and that's why they split up. And there also was mentioned, not in his flashback, but in King's flashback, talking about, can Kaido change the world? And he's like, he's the only one who can do that. And what world is he talking about? He's talking about with the conversation with the old hag, and how Kaido is the embodiment of might, how Kaido, he wants to wage war where everybody can battle it out to see who's the strongest and who should be on top. And the noble celestial dragons, they should experience war, because that's what he defines equality and freedom as, and it shows a man's true worth. His backstory, it was a little bit weak to me. It was basically like Big Mom's backstory. They were both like kids who were strong and that they were sheltered by people, so I was a little bit disappointed with that. But I will say Kaido, he does have major influence on the One Piece world. You know, obviously him being a Yonko is one, but that scene when he stabbed Kinemon and he talked about death, I really enjoyed. He said something along the lines of, people aren't ready for death to come, or something like that. And it makes me think, like, a lot of people, they talk a big game, but when the time comes, they're not ready. And for me personally, it resonated with me because I'm not scared of death, right? I'm just scared to have a painful death. So, you know, that's why that quote resonated with me. But he was basically just saying that people, you know, they're willing to really say they want to fight to the death, but when it comes, they're not ready. Kaido, because he was with the Rocks Pirates and he's been a pirate for a long time, obviously he knows a lot about the world. He chose Wano for a reason. We don't necessarily know why he chose Wano, but it probably has something to do more than just his resources. And in chapter 1050, Kaido, it's confirmed that he fell into magma. Now, there's a separate person next to him. We don't know if that's Big Mom or that's his coat. I personally think that's Big Mom, but it could be his coat. People think that Kaido's gonna get back up, but you know, that's a story for a different day. But there was also in the end of the chapter that he told King that the only person that could defeat him was Joy Boy, and this says a lot about Kaido's strength because he needed a god in order to defeat him. So was Kaido a disappointing villain? I wouldn't say he's disappointing. I just think that the community, they put the Yonkos on these high pedestals and have high expectations for them to be unbeatable, where that's not the case. Once you are at the top, you must fall. It's kind of like how different records are set and people are like, oh, these records are unbeatable. No, records are meant to be broken, and eventually someone will come across and break the record. So these Yonkos that people put on these pedestals, and I think they rightfully should because of how strong they are, but they can be defeated, as displayed with Whitebeard, displayed with Kaido, and displayed with Big Mom. So I don't understand why we put them on this pedestal and why we picture them. Like, I'm saying, like, we as in the community picture them as these gods, because like I said, they can be beaten. And in this arc, it was written excellently where they caught Kaido lacking, catching him off guard during the raid. And I think they did that a good job. And so, like I said, we gotta stop with these unrealistic expectations, because different fan fictions, different headcanons, they influence people's opinions. Because let's just say, for instance, people are like, oh, Kaido should get back up because da 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 da. They fan theorize and all this because of different things Oda wrote, where you're not Oda, right? And so people get mad when their theories and stuff doesn't come true, and they blame Oda when you're the one that made all that up in your head. And so I think Kaido, in terms of character, I think he has the potential to be fleshed out a little bit more. Like I said, we don't necessarily know if he's done, or we barely got a flashback from him, so we could see more. But for right now, I'm going to have to put him on the A tier, where I think Doflamingo is still a little bit better. I think Doflamingo is definitely S tier, and they have other villains in the story that could potentially rival Doflamingo. They have a Kaido, they have Blackbeard left, maybe Emu, but definitely like a Kaido and Blackbeard are the two that we're most looking forward to. But let me know what you guys think about Kaido, if he was disappointing to you guys, because there's a lot of rift in the community right now, a lot of stuff going on. Personally, I think we should just wait. Oda never disappoints with his endings, so I think we should wait and see what he has in store. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video from my Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. It's on the screen in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.